Hello everybody, it's Henry Readerman. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm working on a Scag Tiger Cat front bearings. These are the two new bearings. Customer brought them to me. He's getting the seals right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack these. Now I do have a packing tool, but after I moved I didn't think I was going to get back into all this stuff heavy and deep, but I am. So I'm going to do it the old way. So I'll show you how my dad taught me. So my dad taught me to take the bearing, clean bearing, stick it in the grease, get a generous amount, put it in your palm of your hand, and then you'll walk the bearing to you, right? And I'm wearing gloves because it is messy. And you walk the bearing to you and it scoops it up. And you do that until you get it all the way around. And just keep walking the bearing in there. It's naturally, I'm going to put extra in the cavity. And just use a nice high temp bearing grease. I'm not no specific. This gentleman picked up the Lucas red and tacky, and just walk it in there, and you're going to pack this bearing full. Flip it over and do the other side, and I'll show you. You just walk it in your hand, in your palm. See what I'm doing. That's why it's good to have gloves on. Push it in your palm, get it down into the bearing itself, and I'm going to put these on a rag here because I'm not ready to install it until I get the seals. What you'll do is you'll place these in the race, and then you'll put the seal in, and I'll do video on that. I'm just showing you how to pack bearings right now. This is any bearing. This just happens to be on the Scag that I'm working on. And just be liberal with it. You're not going to hurt it. You're not going to waste it. Trust me, you'll use all of it. And just pack it real good. So that bearing's packed. Okay, it's packed all the way around. I got no air all the way around. I got no air on this side. And it's down into the race, down into the bearing itself. Now I'm not going to replace the races on these because they're in good shape. I'm just doing the bearings. Luckily, we're able to discover it before the bearings ruin the race. Again, put a little bit in your glove, pack it in there, work it around the center, and just keep packing it. And that's what you're doing. You can use a tool too. It makes a mess. It works. But realistically, just use your hand. Because then when you're done, scrape off the excess, put it in your container, and just get it all over this grease real good. It's all going in there. It's not like you're going to miss something and it's going to blow up on you. So I used to be real paranoid back in the day as a mechanic, and then I realized, you know what? It's packed. It's not going to go nowhere. And then I'm going to put more in the hub too, because as it gets hot, it will sling out. As the wheel goes centrifugal force, it'll sling it around inside that hub. And then I have my grease gun, and I'll put some more in it. But I'll pre-pack the hub real good. That way when I put it together, he's got a while on it. And I'm sure this thing's fairly old. It hadn't been greased. It hadn't been taken care of by the previous owner. So he got a lot of life out of it. He brought it to me to get some other maintenance done, the idling bearings, and when I did the idle bearings, I noticed I had a lot of noise, and I noticed the noise then was coming from the front wheel. Well, lo and behold, the front wheel, after I greased it, decided while I was over, luckily close to my house, working on one of my lots, the wheel bearing just finally gave out, blew out. And in fact, it blew out, and I ran over it. I'm just cleaning up my hands. So that's packing bearings. I ran over it, and I could hear the deck eat it up and send it out into the field. So I knew something was wrong, and then the wheel started wobbling. All right, so that's packing the bearings. So the bearings are ready. I cleaned out the hub. I cleaned the hub out, ready to receive the bearings. In fact, I can get one now, and I'll preload the race. You can preload the race where the bearing's going to go. So I'll flip it like this for you. So put it right here. I'm going to draw it out a little bit so you can see it. So I'm going to preload. I'll just preload this race. And I cleaned out all the oil grease. I'm just going to preload this hub. Not going to hurt it. In this case, a lot is good. Okay. I made sure all the metal was removed from the old bearing. And then you're going to preload it all. Like I said, a lot is good. Then I'll just take this bearing, I'll set it in there. Then what you're going to do, then the seal goes on it. And I'll show you a video of that. And I'll go over the other side in detail. Then the seal goes on, I'll pound that down with my rubber hammer or my nylon hammer. I'll pound it nice and flush, make sure that's good. And then you'll put the bushing in. And the bushing goes on to the seal, and then that keeps the bearing pushed up against the hub. And then there's a main shaft that goes through it with a sleeve. And like I said, don't be afraid to overpack this bearing. Not a big deal. I can put more grease in it, I'm going to pack this hub a little bit more. Be liberal with it. You're not going to waste it. It'll pay off in the long run if you pack this bearing correctly, and you put a little excess grease in there and let it. When I go to pound that seal in, it's going to force my grease down into the bearing again and help you. So don't be afraid to over grease it. Does it make a mess? Absolutely. This is not one for the faint at heart, and don't have good clothes on, I'll tell you that much. Otherwise your favorite person in your life will be pissed at you that you trash clothes. All right, so that one bearing is pre-packed. I got a little excess grease in it, and then I'll bring the video back when I go ahead and put the seal in. All right, that's Henry, Weed Eater Man out. I'm hoping I'm helping you. Hit subscribe and like, leave comments. I'm not perfect. I'm just a general dude that does this stuff on the side after his real day job. I like staying busy. It's a good hobby, and I help people out. All right, Henry Weed Eater Man out. Have a good Independence Day. Enjoy your Independence Day and celebrate it safely. I'm out.